The stars stretched out endlessly before humanity, a never-ending sea of possibility, but for centuries, Earth had been a quiet, unassuming planet. That was until the day the Galactic Empire's emissaries arrived. Their sleek, imposing ships blocked out the sun, and their cold demands reverberated through every communication channel. Earth, it seemed, had something they wanted: resources, territory, power. The Empire didn't care that Earth's inhabitants had been living in peace, advancing at their own pace, far removed from galactic conflict. They saw Earth's potential, and that was enough for them to come with an ultimatum: surrender or face obliteration. In response, Earth did what no one expected. They didn't cower, they didn't beg. Instead, they issued a warning. A message that would reverberate across the stars, echoing through the halls of the Empire, and setting the stage for the greatest war the galaxy would ever know. The President of Earth, Elena Vasquez, stood before the assembled leaders of the United Nations, staring at the image of the Empire's warship looming over their planet. The light of Earth's setting sun shone through the glass, but it was a pale reflection of the fire in her eyes. "We are a species with nothing left to lose," she declared, her voice steady, yet full of an unyielding strength that no one in the room could ignore. "We may be small in comparison, but this is our home. If they want to take it, they will have to pay the price." In that moment, Earth issued its final warning: "Defy us, and you will face obliteration." The message was sent, broadcasted across every corner of the galaxy, and its impact was immediate. The Empire's emissaries, who had arrogantly believed that humanity would bend to their will, were shaken. This was not the response they expected from a planet they had written off as insignificant. The humans were defiant. They were fearless. The response from the Empire was swift. A fleet of ships, led by the formidable Emperor Thalos, set course for Earth, ready to put an end to what they perceived as a dangerous rebellion. But the humans weren't merely waiting for their doom. For the first time in centuries, Earth's leaders came together, uniting their disparate forces and resources, preparing for a war they knew they might not survive. The days leading up to the inevitable confrontation were filled with secrecy and anticipation. Earth's greatest minds worked tirelessly to develop new technologies, leveraging every ounce of scientific progress and military innovation they had made over the centuries. Humans had always been resourceful, but now they had something more: an unwavering will to survive. A team of engineers and scientists had managed to repurpose ancient weapons and integrate them with the latest advancements in space warfare, creating the Archangel, a massive warship unlike anything the Empire had ever seen. As the Empire's fleet neared, a chilling silence descended over Earth. But in the heart of the Archangel, the crew was anything but silent. They were preparing for the battle of their lives. "I don't know if this will work," Commander Alex Parker, the ship's captain, said, his voice full of determination as he oversaw the final preparations. "But we've got one shot at this. Earth's survival depends on us." In the silence of space, the two fleets collided with the force of a collapsing star. The Empire's ships were massive and deadly, their weapons designed to obliterate entire planets, their fleets so large they seemed to stretch into infinity. But the Archangel was different. It was fast, agile, and armed with weapons that Earth's engineers had spent decades perfecting. The first exchange of fire was deafening. Explosions rocked the black void as Earth's ships darted between the massive Empire vessels, striking with precision. The fight was brutal. The Empire's ships retaliated with devastating force, but they hadn't anticipated the human ingenuity at play. Earth's ships didn't just rely on raw firepower. They used strategy, misdirection, and, most of all, a deep understanding of the enemy's tactics. The Empire's arrogance had been their greatest weakness. As the battle raged on, the Archangel found itself in a desperate dogfight with the Emperor's flagship, the Obsidian Dawn. It was a ship that dwarfed anything humanity had ever built, with weapons powerful enough to tear through a planet's crust. The Archangel, however, was nimble and unpredictable, darting between the energy blasts and returning fire with deadly accuracy. Commander Parker's hands gripped the controls, his mind working in overdrive as the fate of Earth hung in the balance. "We can't keep this up much longer," Lieutenant Maya Zheng said, her voice tight with strain. "The Obsidian Dawn shields are holding. We need to get to their power core, or we won't survive this. We've got one chance, Parker replied. Prepare to make a run at their power core. We've studied their systems. This is the only weak point. The Archangel surged forward, dodging incoming fire with a skill that defied belief. It tore through the Empire's defenses, reaching the heart of the Obsidian Dawn. In a last-ditch effort, Parker activated the ship's most powerful weapon, a devastating energy cannon that could breach the core of even the most advanced ship. Firing now, Parker shouted, as the entire crew braced for impact. The beam tore through space, crashing into the heart of the enemy flagship. There was a moment of silence before the entire ship exploded in a blinding flash of light. The Empire's fleet began to retreat, their flagship destroyed, and their forces shattered. Earth had done the unthinkable. Against all odds, humanity had won. As the surviving ships from the Empire fled back into the depths of space, President Elena Vasquez's voice echoed across the galaxy once more. This is Earth's final warning. Never underestimate us again. The Galactic Empire had learned its lesson the hard way, and humanity had proven that even in the face of overwhelming odds, they were a force that could never be silenced. The future of the galaxy had changed forever, and Earth, once thought insignificant, now stood as a symbol of defiance, strength, and the unwavering will to survive. The message was clear. Humanity would not be conquered. They would fight, they would win, and they would do whatever it took to protect their home. The stars had witnessed a new dawn, and it belonged to Earth. In the aftermath of the battle, the galaxy was left in stunned silence. The Empire, once thought invincible, had suffered a humiliating defeat. Earth's victory had not only proven humanity's strength, but had shaken the very foundations of the Galactic Empire. For centuries, the Empire had operated with unchecked power, and now they were forced to reckon with the harsh reality that a new power had emerged in the galaxy. The humans had turned the tables. Back on Earth, the celebrations were subdued. There was no time for triumph or revelry. There was too much work to be done. Commander Alex Parker and President Elena Vasquez, along with the surviving leaders of the war, gathered in a high-security command center deep beneath the surface of the planet. The threat was far from over. The Empire will regroup, Parker said, his voice grim as he looked over the latest intelligence reports. We've wounded them, but they're far from finished. They'll come back stronger, angrier, and they won't make the same mistakes again. President Vasquez nodded. We've proven we can stand up to them, but that victory won't mean anything if we don't prepare for what's coming next. We can't afford to be complacent. This fight is far from over. Despite the victory, Earth's leaders knew the cost of the coming war would be immense. The Galactic Empire would not forget their defeat. And in the dark corners of the galaxy, other factions watched and waited, eager to see whether humanity's victory was a fluke or the beginning of a new chapter in galactic history. Humanity's victory had sparked something unexpected, hope. Across the galaxy, oppressed planets and colonies began to see Earth not just as a power to fear, but as a beacon of resistance. One by one, they sent emissaries, messages of solidarity, and pledges of support. Earth had become the rallying cry for the galaxy's underdogs, and those who had suffered under the Empire's heel now saw a chance for freedom. But with hope came challenges. The Empire, wounded but not defeated, was mobilizing for a counteroffensive. The Empire's warlords and generals, who had once served under the Emperor's iron fist, now saw the opportunity to seize power for themselves. The fragile alliances that held the Empire together were beginning to crack, and civil war loomed on the horizon within the Empire's ranks. Earth's leaders, aware that their newfound allies would not be enough to win the war alone, knew they needed to strike fast. The Archangel, still battle-scarred but operational, was fitted with new weaponry, developed from the stolen technologies of the Empire's own ships. It wasn't enough just to survive anymore. Humanity needed to take the fight to the Empire's heart. In the quiet of space, the human fleet gathered once more, preparing for a final assault. The war was escalating. Commander Parker and his crew, seasoned by their earlier victory, stood ready to lead the charge once again. We've proven we can win, Parker said, standing at the helm of the Archangel. But we can't stop until the Empire is completely dismantled. We'll make sure they never threaten us, or anyone else, again. The Empire's homeworld loomed in the distance, its twin suns burning brightly in the black expanse of space. For years, it had been the seat of power, the center of the galaxy's oppression. But the tide had turned. The Empire's grip on the galaxy was weakening, and its leaders were scattered. The remaining loyalists were scrambling to hold on to what little they could. As Earth's fleet advanced, the Empire's defenses were still formidable, but they were no longer coordinated. Humanity's tactics, forged in the heat of previous battles, were a force of precision and ingenuity. They moved quickly, striking where the Empire was weakest, exploiting the fractures in their once unbeatable war machine. The final battle came on the edge of the Empire's capital. The human fleet faced off against the remnants of the Emperor's loyalists, a battle that would determine the fate of the galaxy. The Archangel led the charge once again, its weapons firing in synchronized waves, cutting through the Empire's defenses like a blade through paper. "This is for Earth," Parker muttered under his breath as he ordered the final push toward the Imperial Palace. But the most dangerous threat had yet to show itself. As Earth's ships closed in on the capital, a massive new weapon, never before seen by humanity, emerged from the planet's surface. It was a superweapon, capable of wiping out entire fleets with a single shot. It was the last gambit of the Empire to hold onto its power, and the Archangel was directly in its path. "Commander," Lieutenant Zheng's voice cracked through the comms, panic in her voice. "They're targeting us." "We knew this was coming," Parker replied, his voice calm as he steered the Archangel toward the weapon. "Prepare to fire everything we've got. This is our final chance." The battle raged, both sides pushing toward victory. In the heart of the conflict, Parker made a decision that would forever change the course of the war. With a calculated risk, he ordered a direct assault on the superweapon, engaging the final weapon in a one-on-one showdown that would test the limits of humanity's ingenuity and resolve. As the Archangel collided with the superweapon, a final, desperate blast lit up the sky, a blinding flare that engulfed both the Empire's capital and the remaining forces of the Empire. For a long moment, the galaxy stood still, as if holding its breath. When the dust cleared, the Empire was no more. Its capital was in ruins, its fleet decimated, and its leadership shattered. The final, crushing blow had been dealt. Earth had not only survived, it had triumphed. The stars were silent for a moment, as the galaxy's inhabitants took in the unimaginable shift in power. The age of the Galactic Empire was over, and humanity had risen to take its place as the new guardians of the galaxy. Earth's final warning had been heeded, not just by the Empire, but by the galaxy at large. In the years that followed, humanity continued to expand, forging new alliances and building a new order based on peace and cooperation. The lessons learned in war were never forgotten. The humans who had once been underestimated were now respected, their strength and resilience known across the stars. Earth had become a beacon of hope, a symbol of defiance, and a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always a chance for a brighter future. And as the galaxy turned its gaze toward a new era, it was clear that humanity had just begun its journey, not just as survivors, but as the new leaders of the stars. The galaxy, once a fractured expanse of distant empires and conflict-ridden systems, now found itself at a precipice. The fall of the Galactic Empire had sent shockwaves through every corner of space, and Earth stood at the center of it all. The victory was immense, but the aftermath was filled with complexities. The stars had witnessed the rise of humanity not as conquerors, but as a unifying force. Earth had become the cornerstone of a new era, but maintaining peace in such a vast and diverse galaxy would prove to be a challenge unlike any humanity had faced before. The newly formed coalition of free systems, a loose alliance of planets and colonies once under the Empire's thumb, was now the key to the galaxy's stability. It was a delicate balance. Factions that had long fought for power were now forced to work together, but the seeds of distrust and rivalry were deeply embedded. Humanity, once the underdog, now held the mantle of leadership. But with leadership came responsibility, and President Elena Vasquez knew the true work had only just begun. In the quiet corridors of Earth's War Council, a sense of urgency hung thick in the air. Vasquez, now a symbol of hope for the galaxy, sat at the head of the table, her gaze fixed on the star map that hovered before her. It showed the systems they had liberated, and the ones that remained under the control of the remnants of the Empire's loyalists. The Empire may be broken, Vasquez said, her voice steady, but there are still pockets of resistance out there. We must ensure that what we've fought for doesn't unravel. If we allow these rogue factions to regain power, the galaxy will fall back into chaos. Commander Alex Parker, now one of humanity's most decorated officers, stood beside her, arms crossed as he looked over the plans. We've got reports of several Empire loyalists forming their own warbands in the outer sectors. They're small for now, but they're dangerous, and we can't afford to ignore them. We won't, Vasquez replied, leaning forward. We will give them a choice. Either join the coalition and live in peace, or face the same fate as the Empire. The Council was unanimous in its decision. The newly formed human fleet, bolstered by the technology and knowledge they had gained from the remnants of the Empire, was ready for its next mission: to hunt down the last of the Empire's loyalists and finally erase their threat from the galaxy. But the task would not be easy. These rogue factions were not disorganized rebels. They were remnants of the Empire's most skilled warlords, still fiercely loyal to the ideals that had once made the Empire a terrifying force. They were not just fighting for survival. They were fighting for their vision of the galaxy, a vision where they controlled its fate. As the human fleet prepared to set out for the first of the rogue faction strongholds, Parker's thoughts turned to the future. The war was over, but the peace was fragile. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, but their victory had attracted new enemies. It was only a matter of time before other powers, once neutral or on the Empire's side, would see Earth's rise as a challenge to their own dominance. We can't let our guard down, Parker said, looking out the viewport into the vastness of space. The galaxy might be wide, but it's also unpredictable. New threats could arise when we least expect them. I know, Vasquez replied, her voice tinged with concern. We've seen what happens when power is unchecked. We must be better. We must be more than the Empire ever was. As the Archangel and its fleet moved out to confront the rogue factions, tensions began to rise within the galaxy's new order. The coalition was still fragile, held together by the common cause of survival, but it was beginning to show cracks. Different planets and systems had different ideas on how the galaxy should be governed, and while the humans had proven themselves as formidable leaders, they now had to contend with those who saw their rise as a threat to the old balance of power. One such power was the Zornic Collective, a powerful alien faction that had once been an ally to the Empire, now slowly starting to rally behind their own imperial ambitions. The Zornic were technologically advanced and fiercely independent, and they saw Earth's growing influence as a challenge to their own sovereignty. They were preparing for something big, something that could change the balance of power once again. Meanwhile, Parker and his team had reached the rogue faction's base, a heavily fortified station located in the asteroid belt of a distant system. It was a labyrinth of fortified bunkers and heavily armed warships, all held together by the charisma and cunning of the warlord at its helm. Vladimir Drax, a former general of the Empire who had been as brutal as he was strategic. The fleet's approach was met with heavy resistance, but humanity's resolve was stronger. The battle was intense, each strike from the humans carefully calculated, each maneuver a testament to their tactical genius. The rogue faction was tenacious, but they were unprepared for the sheer firepower and adaptability of humanity's forces. In the heart of the battle, Parker and his elite team infiltrated the station, fighting their way to the central command room where Drax awaited. The rogue general, a towering figure clad in the dark armor of the Empire's elite, awaited them, his eyes burning with defiance. You really think you've won? Drax sneered, his voice echoing through the chamber. You defeated the Empire, but you'll never control this galaxy. It was never about power. It was about freedom. You will fall, just like the Empire did. Freedom? Parker scoffed. You're nothing more than a dictator with delusions of grandeur. With that, the battle intensified, a final clash between the ideals of a broken empire and the future that humanity was trying to build. The humans fought with everything they had, because they knew the stakes. This wasn't just about defeating the remnants of a fallen empire. It was about proving that Earth's rise wasn't a fluke, that they could protect the galaxy from tyranny and forge a new path forward. When the dust settled, Drax lay defeated, and the rogue faction's forces had surrendered. But the war wasn't over. The Zornic Collective had been watching, waiting for their moment. Earth had won this battle, but the real war for the future of the galaxy was just beginning. As Parker stood over Drax's fallen form, he knew that humanity's greatest challenge lay ahead, not just in defending their home, but in uniting the galaxy once and for all. The fight for peace, for true freedom, was never easy, but the humans had shown they were ready for whatever came next. And as they left the wreckage of the rogue faction behind, the fleet turned toward the stars, knowing one thing above all: the galaxy would never be the same again, and Earth would lead it into a new era, one of peace, of unity, and of hope. As Earth's fleet moved deeper into the heart of the galaxy, the quiet moments of victory began to fade, replaced by the weight of the tasks ahead. The rogue factions had been defeated, but the remnants of the Galactic Empire, as well as the growing ambitions of the Zornic Collective, remained constant threats. The coalition was still a fragile alliance, and the path to unity was proving to be more complex than anyone had hoped. Back on Earth, President Elena Vasquez had gathered her top advisors to discuss the way forward. The victory over the rogue factions was a significant milestone, but it had also revealed the deeper divisions within the galaxy. Humanity had earned its place as a leader, but with that came the challenge of maintaining peace among the galaxy's diverse and often distrustful races. We've done it. We've proven that Earth can stand against the Empire and its remnants, Vasquez said, her voice steady yet filled with the gravity of the situation. But the Zornic are already stirring, and other factions are watching us closely. We cannot rest on our laurels. Commander Alex Parker, now one of the most respected military leaders in the galaxy, leaned forward. The Zornic have been quiet so far, but their technological advancements cannot be ignored. We need to prepare for them. If we can't convince them to join the coalition, then we might have to face them head-on. The room fell into tense silence as the weight of their words sank in. A new war could be on the horizon, and the future of the galaxy was uncertain. But one thing was clear. Humanity was no longer an underdog, and Earth's role as a unifier of the galaxy was becoming more critical by the day. The next few months were filled with diplomatic talks, strategic alliances, and intense preparations for what was to come. Earth's fleet, bolstered by new technologies and the support of its allies, was ready for whatever the Zornic might throw at them. But even as humanity built its military strength, President Vasquez knew that diplomacy was the key to avoiding a war that would devastate the galaxy once again. We will do everything we can to avoid conflict, Vasquez said in a speech broadcasted across the galaxy. But let there be no mistake. We will defend ourselves, and we will protect the freedom we've fought so hard to achieve. Earth is not just a beacon of resistance. It is a symbol of what can happen when people come together to fight for something greater than themselves. In the vastness of space, the Zornic Collective, led by their ruthless Chancellor Korath, watched Earth's rise with growing apprehension. The Zornic were powerful, but they were not invincible, and they knew that Earth's influence was growing by the day. Korath, calculating and cold, saw Earth as a challenge to the Zornic's vision of the galaxy. A vision where they controlled everything. But Earth had something the Zornic did not: unity. The humans had forged alliances with dozens of planets and races, and the coalition was growing stronger by the day. They were a force to be reckoned with, and Korath knew that if they did not act soon, they might lose their opportunity to strike. The day of reckoning arrived sooner than expected. The Zornic launched a surprise attack on a coalition world in the Outer Rim, hoping to destabilize the fragile peace that had been established. The attack was swift, brutal, and without warning. The world, once a symbol of hope for the coalition, was reduced to rubble in mere hours. It was a message to Earth and the galaxy. The Zornic were not afraid to fight. Earth's response was immediate. Commander Parker, leading the Archangel and its fleet, was the first to arrive at the devastated world. The images of the destruction were heart-wrenching. Entire cities had been obliterated, and the planet's once vibrant surface was now a barren wasteland. Humanity could not, and would not, let this stand. We gave them a choice, Parker said, staring out over the ruined planet. But now, they've made their choice. And we'll make ours. The battle that followed was fierce. The Zornic, though technologically advanced, were not prepared for the sheer determination of Earth's forces. The Archangel led the charge, with Parker at the helm, coordinating a strategy that took full advantage of the fleet's superior coordination and adaptability. The Zornik warships were formidable, but they were not prepared for the relentless human assault. In the heart of the battle, Parker faced off with Chancellor Korath, the leader of the Zornik. The final confrontation took place on a battlefield in space, amidst the wreckage of shattered warships and burning debris. Korath, a towering figure clad in armor, faced Parker in a duel that would decide the fate of the galaxy. "You're too late, human," Korath sneered as their ships exchanged fire. "You may have won a few battles, but the Zornik will never bow to you. The galaxy will be ours, whether you like it or not." Parker's response was simple. "We've already won. You just haven't realized it yet." With a final, devastating blow, the Archangel disabled Korath's flagship, sending the Zornik fleet into disarray. The battle was over. The Zornik had been defeated, and the Coalition's victory was secured. The galaxy, forever changed by the events that had unfolded, now looked to Earth for guidance. Humanity had not only defended their planet, but had united the galaxy under a banner of peace and freedom. The remnants of the Galactic Empire, the rogue factions, and the Zornik had all fallen before the strength of Earth's resolve. In the years that followed, Earth continued to lead the galaxy with wisdom and compassion. The lessons of the past, of empires, of war, and of suffering, were not forgotten. Under humanity's leadership, the galaxy entered a new era, one of unity, cooperation, and hope. As President Vasquez looked out at the stars from her office, she knew that the road ahead would not always be easy. But the galaxy had witnessed something extraordinary. A species that had once been overlooked, underestimated, and scorned, had risen to become the guardians of peace in a universe that was finally starting to heal. And humanity, once again, had shown the stars that they were not just survivors, they were leaders. And the galaxy was theirs to protect.